Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Krishna, Chief Digital Officer of Synity, a world leader in enterprise data software, and we're partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers to bring you this series of interviews with thought leaders in data and analytics. Today, I have the wonderful pleasure of welcoming Krishna Cheriath, Chief Data and Analytics Officer and Head of Digital at Zoetis. Welcome, Krishna. Nice to meet you.
Great to be here, Chris, and thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm excited about our conversation today. So maybe if I could jump right in, you're on your second major chief data officer role. Now at Zoetis. Previously, you were at Bristol Myers, and you've done a variety of interesting things in your career, from standing up new data offices, expanding capabilities in existing organizations. As well, you've got a management consulting background and technical work in very hands-on data roles. So kind of across that whole spectrum of activity and progression, what has your evolution as a leader been around business value delivery through data and analytics? I think that's something that's very much on data and analytics leaders' minds, and kind of love to get your perspective across all the different things you've had an opportunity to do in your career.
Chris, I think while I would love to claim that this is all part of a grand master plan, I think it has been a case of being at the right place at the right time for many of the opportunities. But you're right, my career spanned technology leadership roles, technology consulting, data and analytics, and digital, which then became a chief data officer opportunity at Bristol Myers Squibb. I led digital strategy for a while. And then last October came to Zoetis, the world's leading animal health company, to lead digital data and analytics. So I think the question around business value has been top of mind for me all throughout that journey. I also teach part-time at Carnegie Mellon in their executive education program, and to aspiring chief digital officers, chief data officers, and this conversation around making sure that we are laser focused on business value, not only in the articulation of the type of capabilities and competencies that are needed, but also how you frame the investments that are needed, especially in data and analytics, is an extremely important skill that you need to have. And it is something that I had to develop along the way, along the career journey. Because when you're a data geek at heart, like me, or a digital geek at heart, you tend to get micro-focused around the capabilities and competencies, but sometimes miss the articulation of the value aspect of it. So how do you make sure that you're articulating the value proposition of some of the use cases that you're driving forward, some of the capability investments that are needed, and how do you tell that story in what I call an iceberg methodology? Yeah. Above the waterline, how do you converse with the business stakeholders, articulating the value proposition, and then turn around and then articulate the below the waterline story around all the technology, the competencies, the capabilities to an analytic data and technology audience. That's a very unique blend and a unique skill set to have. And that is an extremely important thing to have for any data analytic leaders today.
Yeah, I very much agree, and I think it's a good observation that technology folks, but data folks in particular, tend to be very detail oriented, and we love the complexity. We love all the geekery around that data, but this idea of being able to do all the hands-on work, but also translate that into business speak for executives is critical, and I very much agree that really is what it's a key differentiator for leadership and the ability to garner investment to these kinds of initiatives. I'm wondering if there are one or two examples of work you're particularly proud of that you could share, and maybe to your point, touch a little bit on both the substance of the work, but how you told the story to get the investment and to kind of build excitement in the business around the results.
Yeah, I think the first story I'll say is around when I became the chief data officer at Bristol Myers Squibb. There was a real need to rebuild the plumbing of the organization around the data and analytic capabilities. But at the same time, there was also an acute need to drive key business priorities from an analytics agenda standpoint. So the question is, how do you convince your leadership to invest behind a long-term, cloud-first data and analytic enablement plan, while still be able to address the near-term value delivery goals. So what we centered around was a strategy which I call the Ferrari and cargo ships strategy, and to say that you need the Ferrari in terms of the sharp focus on fast-paced value delivery. So we created something called a rapid data lab team to really focus on delivering value in days and weeks by bringing together analytic talent, data engineers, data SMEs, technology talent, and airdrop them into different value cases and be sharply focused on value delivery. And then to the cargo ship metaphor, really position an enterprise pivot to make sure that we have an effective data capability strategy that repositions the data fabric of the company to a better future. So that tandem focus on value delivery and investing in the long term was a very successful approach. It was a 3-year plan, which led to rebuilding the data infrastructure with a cloud-first approach across multiple markets. But at the same time, we showed several value use cases of big, small, and medium for multiple business units along the way. It has multiple advantages to that kind of a strategy. One, by working on short value cycles, you learn a lot about what are the gaps and deficiencies that you need to correct. Second, you build credibility with a wide variety of stakeholder group who now you have some credibility chips that you can cash in for some of the longer term investments that you need to make, especially for a non-digitally native company like BMS. So it was a very successful strategy. I learned a lot from it in terms of what we need to do. But that's the first storyline I'd say is that cargo ship and Ferrari strategy towards simultaneous focus on short-term value delivery and a long-term rebuilding plan. So that's a highlight I would cast. Second example I would showcase is something that we are focused on at Zoetis today. I came into Zoetis in late October. Leading in digital and analytics is a core part of the company's growth strategy and is one of the declared business imperatives of the company. And we have a tremendous opportunity across pet care, livestock, around advancing digital data and analytics to shape and reimagine animal health. But how do you go about it? How do you build capabilities at the same time build the credibility across the organization with key stakeholders that you're able to advance the priorities? So it's an active case study right now. And the earlier results in the 7 months since I've been here, we've rebuilt the team. We have established credible partnerships, and we are working across several strategic dimensions. But again, the key there is the simultaneous focus on value and capability building, and both needs to go hand in hand.
Yeah, that completely makes sense, and I mean it's reminiscent of this idea we've been talking about for a while around bimodal or multimodal IT, and I think bringing that whole set of concepts to the world of data and analytics makes a huge amount of sense.